Hey, what's up? It's Vega, and today we're going to talk about someone we've already briefly touched on, but I feel like it's important to talk about him in the scheme of being an important figure in the hip-hop industry at this current moment in time, and that is Kenny Beats. In an industry that has been known time and time again for being overly competitive and, quite frankly, cutthroat, with many people hoarding their knowledge and being very unwilling to help their peers unless there are strings attached, it's rare to see a figure who genuinely wants to see other people succeed. But then we have Kenny Beats. He's the type of person that offers up advice on his Instagram lives. He leaves his DMs open. And overall, he just wants to see everybody win and have a good time, which is, like I said, a rarity in the hip-hop community. And not only that, but he is incredibly talented. He is insanely versatile. And he's taking an approach to producing that the hip-hop landscape hasn't really ever seen before. We'll obviously get to talking about The Cave, because not only is it one of my favorite things on YouTube or the internet overall at the moment, but it's also integral to any discussion surrounding Kenny and what he does. So we'll get there, but not just yet. First, I want to touch on his Instagram lives. I'm not really the type of person that watches Instagram lives because I have the fucking attention span of a fish. But anytime I get a notification that Kenny started a live, I will hop in there because I like to listen to him talk. He always has something important or positive to say, even if he's just generally checking up on what's happening outside of his little production bubble or whatever it is that he's up to. He gets on there and he's just talking put the hours in, get your 10,000 hours in, do what you need to do to get what you want out of what you want to do, and you got this, it's gonna be fine. And it's just such a good energy to put out there into the world and also into the music industry as a whole. I always specifically think of this live that he did where he talks about the power of saying, I don't know. Yeah, to any person that seems like common sense, even if we're hard-headed and stubborn and think, oh, I don't need that. And he words it 10 million times better than I ever could. So I am going to link that one in the description because I think it is a vital thing to see, and it's a very important thought to put out into the world. I think he did a really good job of discussing it. Definitely click it, check it out, especially if you need a pick-me-up in these times. Also, the end of that one is just so pure, where he's like, hey, if the people in your life don't love you or if they don't believe in you, I love you. To tap this section off, it's really cool to see an inside look of the stuff he's doing. When he gets on and shares snippets or does a quick little beat, it's cool to look at. I like to see someone's process, and I like to get snippets of things just to have them. And we're obviously going to double back to the whole process of what he does in this video. Next, I want to delve into the versatility of his catalog of collaborators. He's worked with so many artists with differing sounds, and a lot of those people wouldn't even be classified as hip-hop artists. He doesn't just specialize in hip-hop. Working with Omar Apollo on Frio and how that production was fantastic. Or working with Deb Never on Stone Cold. And then also the work he's doing with Idols right now for their new album. Those aren't hip-hop artists, but he's, putting his eggs in every basket. So to go back into the list of collaborators who are considered hip-hop artists, he goes from the likes of Rico Nasty, JPEG Mafia, Slow Tie, Dominic Fike, Key, O3 Greedo, Vince Staples. The list can go on forever. I'm gonna keep it there. While all these people are considered under the umbrella of hip-hop or rap, they all have such different sounds, which require much different beats. And Kenny can bend and change in order to accommodate all of those sounds, and all of the beats are still so different. He's not just producing the same beat for the same artist over and over and over again. There's so much variety even within that artist's catalog of the beats that Kenny does for them. And like I said, that's not even a master list of who he's worked with. That's just a few people that I thought of. We also have to just mention his past in EDM, which admittedly I don't know much about, so I can't really speak on it. And it's not really part of this discussion of him being an important voice within hip-hop. To finish up this segment about collaborators, I do want to briefly touch on his work on Unlocked with Denzel Curry. I know I made a whole video about this, but that project is really such a good show of Kenny's versatility working with just one artist. All of those beats are so different, yet they managed to keep you in a world that the two of them created together, and everything still flows perfectly and very naturally as the beats progress and change throughout that project. It doesn't contain him in a box in any way, shape, or form. And the way that that whole thing came together so quickly and naturally is also impressive and a testament to what his capabilities are as a producer. Now we're going to go into his approach to producing. It's not just, here's a price, I'm going to email you some shit that I made, and it's just going to end there. It's not just a simple transaction, but instead it's an entire process of getting down to the exact of what an artist wants. Turning it into a personal thing that can develop into meaningful relationships, which then can give both ends a frequent collaborator that they know will feed their exact musical needs. And it's just absolutely insane to me that someone possesses that much talent. Give him a basic synopsis of what you want and he fully delivers it. He knows exactly what to place where, how to add the perfect ambient sounds to the beat that the average person doesn't even notice. Like, his ear is insanely good and, like, catching all the little nuances and beats. I personally don't understand how people do that because that's not something I am even kind of skilled in. And it's just crazy. This approach also directly leads into us talking about The Cave. Everything about this show is absolute artistry. From Kenny's actual producing to the editing of the episodes, then to the freestyles, whether they're serious or not. And lately, they've been getting less and less serious and more kind of like, make me this cool beat and I'm going to do some playful shit over it and make some jokes. And the friendships, getting not only a gander into the creative process, but also just getting to see friends chopping it up, genuinely having a good time is such a treat. But going back into his process, it's just so funny to see one of his friends describe the beat they want. For example, Vince Staples being like, crime on everything, even animals. Or Zach Fox saying, make me a beat Whitney Houston would get on right now. And him just doing it. And the episodes are always so lighthearted and fun. You can tell everyone in the room is having such a good time and all these connections are so genuine. Literally, if I'm having a bad day, I just go back and watch an episode of The Cave and it instantly brings me up and makes me feel better. I have also watched a lot of them in the back room at work on break, and it's just an instant boost from having to deal with customers or it being super busy. I watched the Thundercat episode like 9 times in the span of 3 days just because it was so funny. Lastly, I do want to specifically talk about his work with Greedo. The documentary they made for the making of Netflix and Deal was just such a special thing to see, and such a show of Kenny's want to help as much as he can to see his friends succeed by any means necessary in any circumstances. The way that he made sure Greedo was getting love for all of this through giving out his information so people could send him letters was just so heartwarming and such a genuinely good thing to do, not only as a person, but as a friend. And there's also the Conversations With video that he did with Hypebeast, where it's so clear how much he cares when he talks about how he had to have this executed 110% right, even if Greedo wasn't going to be there to physically experience it. How he had to do right by him, especially under the circumstances. He says in that video, and he's not here to give you that feeling, so we got to give it to you for him, on his behalf, in reference to all the work they put in on everything centering Greedo in this project. And you can literally see it in his eyes and in his face how much he cares. And that's really just so fucking amazing. All in all, to wrap this one up, it's just so cool to see someone who is doing something they love and clearly having such a good time while making so many genuine connections with other artists. And someone who is a good person, someone who wants to see other people do well, whether that's by doling out advice and positivity or helping them to perfect their craft and make music that is just amazing. He's someone who seems so personable and like they're just so happy to be a part of what's going on. Just like sipping on yerba, smoking some weed, and laughing through everything. It's so refreshing to see someone in this industry and someone in hip-hop who so genuinely cares about the people and the music and the community as a whole. And that is it from me for this week. I'll be back next week with something else. If you stuck around this long, thank you so much for doing so. And peace out.